What's up, everyone? I hope you're doing well today. This is Raphael Garcia here for episode 51 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. As always, I want to take a moment first and foremost to thank you for listening to this content as I am here to talk professional wrestling once again. As always, you can find me at rgarcia_sports on Twitter and on Instagram. And you can check out the main station for MMA ratings at mmaratings.net, where you can go and check out the written content and also rate the fights and let us know how excited you are for upcoming fights, even though we're in kind of a pause situation right now. And also let us know what you thought about past fights. Um, and you can follow MMA Ratings on Instagram and Twitter at MMA Ratings.net. Catch our YouTube channel at MMA Ratings, and also catch this podcast and the MMA podcast that we drop every Tuesday on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Apple iTunes and Google Podcasts as well. So today I wanted to talk about this past week's AEW Dynamite, where we saw Matt Hardy and Brodie Lee debut and the WWE content that they've been putting out a lot lately. But this is also going to be a show talking about the continued impact that we've seen from coronavirus on professional wrestling and just the changes that the two major promotions, that being AEW and WWE, are going through right now. We also got news of a 2-day WrestleMania event, which was released. It was announced on Wednesday, so we'll be talking about that briefly as well too. But let's go ahead and jump on in, focusing first on the AEW show from this past Wednesday. So AEW this week was very different. It was an empty arena show, as we've been seeing WWE do for the last few weeks. It started last Friday with SmackDown, and their empty arena show was much different than what the WWE put forward, and it was different in a good way, or it was different in an entertaining way. It doesn't necessarily mean good, and I'm just going to go ahead and touch on this now. So the mandate that's been coming out from President Trump and major medical professionals has been, let's limit the number of people that we're in the room with, keeping groups down to 10 people or less. If you do not know, California actually just mandated a stay-at-home order around like 9:30 today, where you're not allowed out of your house unless you're getting food or going to the doctor. Anything else outside of that, you're not allowed out, and that's from the details I've read so far. That includes work. Only essential personnel are allowed out. So in a time today where we are forced inside due to the highly contagious coronavirus, it's interesting that AEW, in a way, kind of thumbed their nose at that and bucked what was being mandated. Cody had a pretty interesting promo at the start of the day talking about he's not going to live in fear, etc. At the start of the show, saying he's not going to live in fear, and I understand that. But there's a reason why we have the precautions that we are going through right now. I have this frequent conversation in a group chat that I'm in with some very close friends. Yes, some people are skeptical about where we are with the virus and what's being done, but that doesn't mean one should just turn their eye up at what medical professionals are telling us to do. I think that that's very important, and I think that we are missing out on protecting ourselves and the people that are close to us if we don't do that. But I get why people feel the way they do. I totally understand it, but we'll see what's going to happen going forward because all it takes is one person. All it takes is one person to be contagious. And the thing is, everyone doesn't show symptoms. Everyone doesn't necessarily get sick. So we'll see what happens. I mean, yeah, there were a room full of healthy, in shape, young individuals. But not everybody. I mean, Jake Roberts ain't young. JR isn't young. Tony Schiavone probably isn't too young either. So let's see what happens. I hope that we don't find out, or that I hope we don't find it come to a situation where one wrestler is ill and other people caught it from that, like we saw with the Utah Jazz and like the Brooklyn Nets and other players now. I hope that that's not the case, but they took a risk there. Still, they took a risk to provide entertainment to their fans around the world, and that's exactly what they did because this show was very entertaining for a lot of different reasons. So why was this show so entertaining? First, they gave us a lot of matches. I don't even really remember how many matches they had. I meant to pull that up, but they gave us a lot. They gave us the the women's four way, which was good. They gave us the tag team match, which was also the tag team main event, which was pretty exceptional as well. Let's see. Hold on, let me pull that up real quick. Um, Give me 1 second. So I can't quickly pull up the listing, but whatever. We know that they gave us a lot of good matches. The main event between Matt, Cody, and Hangman Page against LAX and Jake Hager was a solid main event. Everybody was good in that, and as you know, if you listen to the show, I'm not the biggest fan of Jake Hager. He makes me want to turn the television off, but he did his part there, and everyone delivered. I liked how that match has stakes when it comes to the War Games match that'll be occurring at AEW Blood and Guts. I am not sure when that will occur. We'll be talking about that in a moment as well too. But that was a very solid match. We had the Butcher and the Blade versus was it goodness Best Friends. I believe Best Friends won that match there. We had the women's four-way match that Hikaru Shida won. I swore up and down they were going to put Penelope Ford over in that match too. But I don't want to go through all the matches because I'm sure you've already listened to the recap shows that occur right after the AEW events. But still, the fact that they gave us matches really helped this show. I really enjoyed it in comparison to the content that WWE was putting out from this week. What they did with the crowd was they put wrestlers in the crowd, spread them out around the ring so they weren't right on top of each other. They even had heels on one side, faces on the other. So it was something a little bit different. It was funny seeing them heckle each other and be in character, but you could also tell that they were having fun. I wonder if the men and women in the ring were tested though, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier. All it takes is for one person to be sick. So let's see if we ever. Yeah, and I also saw something interesting on Twitter today that in the wrestling industry, probably the same thing in MMA, which we've seen from how they're handling it. If someone did pop up sick, they will probably be pushed to keep it quiet, and I wonder if that would be the case. But that's just me playing conspiracy theorist right now. Um, Everything on the show was fantastic, and it was timely because the viewers at home were looking for something to watch. The ratings, let's see what the ratings were. So Dynamite drew 932,000. NXT had 542. Now NXT was only a clips show. They had no matches. They had interview segments. They had nothing original on that show. They basically told us stories for the whole day. So that was that. So I'm sure a lot of people who would have normally watched NXT flipped over to Dynamite, but that is a big number, 932 views, and it shows that people are willing to still watch wrestling even in this time, if it can be safely presented on TV. And we have to wonder just how long that can keep going on. 'Cause like I said, California just issued that stay-at-home order, and I'm sure other states are going to follow suit sooner rather than later. And we'll see how long that they can really keep it up. Something that was worth pointing out was that when they talked about AEW Dynamite, they talked about it as the next Dynamite. They didn't say it was happening next week, which is important because they may be forced to not do a show next week, or they may be forced to do a show more along the lines of what NXT has done. But they said next AEW Dynamite, so they are kind of protecting themselves from being, what's the word, critiqued or facing a lot of criticism if an AEW show isn't next Dynamite isn't next week, and they said it on this week's show. So they protected themselves very well by saying that this would be like they have these shows planned or these matches planned for the next AEW Dynamite, which may not necessarily be next week. So let's talk about the two big reveals from this week. The first was Brodie Lee. So Brodie Lee is the Exalted One. The Dark Order has been talking about the Exalted One for an extended period of time. The tweet came out from Evil Uno, I think on Monday, that the Exalted Order will be at AEW Dynamite, and the way the promo in the video package started, it almost seemed like it was just going to be his silhouette and he wasn't really going to be there, but they did an unmasking, unhooding, what would it be? But they did a reveal that it is Brodie Lee. Brodie Lee obviously is the Luke Harper formerly known as Luke Harper of the Wyatt family from WWE. He's been off on and off of television for the last 2 to 3 years, and he had a few choice words to say about Vince McMahon, basically saying that calling Christopher Daniels an old man who, man, he made an old man shot at Christopher Daniels, but he was also talking about Vince McMahon, which was very clear because it's been well documented that Vince McMahon wasn't a fan of Luke Harper, even though everyone from a critic standpoint wanted to see what this guy could do because they've seen how he's performed on independence and they've seen how he's performed as a part of the Wyatt family. And my favorite Luke Harper moment is probably the same one that everyone has within WWE when him and Dolph Ziggler stole the show from a couple years back, fighting. I think it was at a SummerSlam, fighting for over the IC title. I mean, they really kind of tore it up back then, but he's been marginalized in the years since on and off of television. He was brought back as a part of the feud with Rowan and as a part of that tag team, but that where he was taken off the air there when they were the Bludgeon Brothers. Rowan got hurt, so he was kept off of TV there. I mean, you've seen him beg to be back on TV, beg to be used across the social media, but that never happened. And now he's released. He begged for his release. He got it. He got his release, and now he's a part of AEW. I mean, he was announced a couple months ago, and they said when he was going to appear. I thought they had mentioned April or May, but he's on TV, and he appeared in the ring. They squashed SCU. Scorpio Sky wasn't there, so I wonder why. For a minute, a brief minute, I thought Scorpio Sky was going to be the Exalted One as a crazy twist, but it is Brodie Lee, and I'm interested in seeing what they do with him next, how he's used. I'm interested in seeing him as the leader of a cult faction. Like, let's see what he can do on the mic. We know what he can do in the ring, and let's see what he can do up against some different talent. I'm excited. I always like to see new things for new wrestlers who aren't on television a lot or who haven't been utilized a lot. I'm not too familiar with the things that he's done on the independent scene, but I think that he has an opportunity here that I hope the best for. AEW they've been criticized for bringing over guys from the WWE, and while some of those like Shawn Spears may not have panned out, you have Pac who's killing it. You have Jon Moxley who's killing it. I mean, Chris Jericho is Chris Jericho, but and don't bring up Jake Hager. I think Jake Hager's a bum, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see what Brodie Lee looks like in the months coming, but this could be a huge opportunity for him to actually prove Vince McMahon and everybody that doubted him wrong, and I hope he does that. The other big reveal, which probably was bigger, was Matt Hardy. So as I mentioned, the main event was the Elite versus the Inner Circle for the advantage in the War Games match, and the storyline the whole way is that the Elite is a man down. Nick Jackson is hurt, so Matt Jackson is there carrying the load along with Cody and Hangman Page, because Omega's also injured, but he'll be back in for the War Games match. So it was 5-on-4 against the Inner Circle. Well, after the match, which the Inner Circle won when I think Santana rolled up Matt, the two groups are facing off. Inner Circle's talking shit as they usually do. Then we see Vanguard 1 fly into the shot and land in the ring, and Matt Hardy is up in the rafters doing his delete sign. He's in his full broken gimmick, and he didn't even need to say anything. This was perfect. Jericho had the great look on his face, like the shocked look on his face. They had his music playing. I don't know if that's the same music that he had from other organizations when he went by the delete, excuse me, by the broken Matt Hardy gimmick, but it sounded like it, but it was the piano playing. I'm not sure if that's the same exact music. But this looks big. I wish this could have been done in front of a huge crowd so we could have heard the massive pop that probably would have came along with it. But still, this was done fantastically. He has, the Young Bucks have been on Free to Delete the last 2 weeks, I believe, and it's been hilarious, so funny, and this kind of brings it all together. I don't know if he fits into the Elite versus Inner Circle storyline so much, but I'm okay with this being his introduction, especially if Nick is hurt. I mean, we know Nick is hurt, and we know he's not going to be able to have the match. But this is a great introduction for Matt, and I'm excited because the biggest thing that Matt brings to the table is his creativity. We know that he's been wanting to do so many different things for the fans from a creative standpoint, and WWE's basically told him, no, that's not the case. We saw there was, I think, in Fightful, there was a story from a couple months back, maybe not a couple months, a couple weeks maybe, in which when him and Bray Wyatt, Matt Hardy being him, were the tag team champions, that they were pushed off of TV because they kept coming with so many different ideas. And I guess it irked people that they just kept them off of television. And you saw how he's been booked the last few months. And Matt Hardy, man, Matt Hardy's one of those guys that he has so much to give to the industry. He may not be able to give it all in the ring like he did 20 years ago when him and his brother were trying to kill themselves in every match that they possibly could. But he has the mind for it, and I can't wait to see some of the things that he will come up with from a creative standpoint, because we all know that creativity is where the WWE consistently struggles, and they're struggling there now, and it looks like they're going to be struggling there for an extended period of time if they don't get out of their own way. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Matt can do, both in the ring, see what because a lot of people feel like he can still go. I am not of that group so much so because he just looked so hurt during the latter part of his tag team run with Jeff before he was brought in as before he did a couple of singles matches this year. But we're gonna see. Matt Hardy, I've always been a fan of Matt Hardy. He always gets over and he's always super creative. So let's see what happens. Cause I think it's a smart idea for him to be brought into AEW, and I'm looking forward to this part of his career. So let's turn to the second topic of today, and that's WWE content in the Performance Center of WrestleMania. So first was the news about WrestleMania being a two-day event on April 4th and 5th, and this is a conversation that's been going on at least for the last 2 years, from what I remember. The idea kind of came from. I feel like it's been going on at least the last 2 years, and we saw an implementation of that with Wrestle Kingdom this year that was held over 2 years, or excuse me, 2 days. And WrestleMania is a ridiculously long show. I went last year, and I will never go to another show because it was just so freaking long. I'll never forget how long I was there. I enjoyed it. I mean, I went for Kofi Mania, but Jesus Christ, that match, that day was so long. Not even talking about the travel issues we had. But now, due to coronavirus, WrestleMania in Tampa is no longer going to happen, and they're moving to Orlando from the Performance Center, and it will be just essential personnel on site during the event. Both of them will be coming from the Performance Center. So this is interesting because I wonder if this was, clearly this is an option that they wanted to go with, and I wonder why they didn't push it back. Because what they've been doing with empty shows, empty venue shows these last couple of weeks has not been good. And if they can't get out of their way and stop doing that, I am concerned about what type of WrestleMania we will see. Is this, they could even, I think Sean Ross Sapp had a great idea where he was saying that they could do something else and not call this WrestleMania, and maybe do WrestleMania later on in the year. Make it something different. Do it in a different venue. Do it at a different time of the year, just because extenuating circumstances. Everyone would be understanding of that, because what they've been doing the last couple of weeks has not been good, and I do not want to see a quote unquote WrestleMania showcase that's going to be the same way. Could this event be moved to July or June and still have SummerSlam in August, or is that too soon of a turnaround? I mean, they're not doing a good job of pushing out long-term storylines to begin with, so I mean, is that an issue? Will we be even able to do that in that time of year? Or could this event be canceled altogether? Altogether, there are some people who believe we won't be out and about again until August or 18 months from now. We'll see what happens. But this is an interesting development for how they plan on handling WrestleMania. There's no word on the matches that will be on both days. I loved the back and forth that I saw on Twitter where Roman Reigns basically said that he's the main event of the Sunday, and whoever else can have the other day is up for grabs. And Edge basically put a stop to that, saying no, him and Randy Orton are the main event. And I love that back and forth. But this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very different than anything we've ever seen before. And the thing is, in the past, I've had faith that the WWE could bounce back and do things differently when they needed to. They could rebound and be creative when their back was against the wall. I'm not so sure they can do that now. I am lacking in faith that they can do that now. I don't think that they are agile enough. I don't think that they have the decision making processes in place to be more creative. You go back to when Seth Rollins got hurt and they had to figure out where to put the title, and they put it on Finn Balor back at that time, or when they put the belt on Kevin Owens when the other time Seth Rollins got hurt. I think, or was that Roman Reigns at the time? I can't remember. But either way, when they've been forced to be creative, they've shown that they can be creative. But when in recent times, when they've been put in a position that they needed to be creative, they've let everybody down, especially themselves. And I am concerned about how creative WrestleMania will be, especially with what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. And in reference to that, WWE SmackDown and Raw this weekend or this week it was something. So they had promos on location. We're not going to go into depth about each and every promo, but the big issue was the replays. So on SmackDown last Friday, they did, I think, a replay of the tag team elimination chamber match. Okay, no problem. I stopped watching then. And I mean, I don't watch SmackDown a lot as it is. I've made that very clear on this show, but that definitely pushed me away. And then they announced that Raw this week was also going to be from the from the Performance Center. And no lie, I was interested in that because I was wondering. I thought they were going to do something different. I thought we were going to see a showcase that was more along the lines of what we got from AEW on Wednesday. So I sit down, start to watch it, and what do we get? They literally replayed the whole men's Royal Rumble, the hour and a half, start to finish, of the Rumble. Now, clearly, everyone's seen what I've written about the Rumble. I wasn't happy with the Rumble to begin with, but to be in a position where you sit down, you want to enjoy some wrestling. Everyone is like on edge. No one's enjoying things right now. This is what they give us. It's like, okay, I get it. They're trying to entertain us, but that just didn't sit well. And I'm going to be clear as day. If I'm not watching any more content. That's what they're going to be doing going forward. I didn't watch NXT this week because they announced ahead of time there wasn't going. It was going to do different formatting. Wasn't going to be any wrestling on air. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch that. I can watch their video content on YouTube and get through it much faster when it's much more convenient. I'm not going to sit there and watch that. There was news today that they've taped a lot of content uh, that they plan on doing, like a lot of taping over the next few days to kind of get a lot of content done. And I'm hoping that they're taping some matches too as well. I would love to see some matches we haven't seen. And if they just want to air those, I would love that. I don't know if they can do that again because who knows what type of contact they're allowed to do with these wrestlers right now. But for like Raw, this example, they gave us Andrade versus Rey Mysterio. That's like I think it was the 12th time that they faced off against each other, or seventh or eighth. Yeah, they're going to put on great matches. They're going to look good all the time. But we've seen this match over and over again. They can only give us so much. So I understand why they're doing what they're doing. We understand that everyone's in some very trying times right now, but they got to do something because right now the lack of creativity with the content that they're putting forward is discouraging. NXT was in the fives. 532,000 people watched NXT this past week compared to 900 or 500, whatever. A little more than 500,000 people watched NXT this week compared to the 900,000 that watched AEW. They're going to have to figure out a way to do something about that. And we can only do so much in this time. And everyone wants to see everyone kind of stay safe. So it's really it's going to be tough, but that's why they're the multi-million-dollar organization and it's not like they're broke. They have the resources to do some things that other organizations won't be able to. They have the resources. The question is whether or not they're actually going to do them. But that's really where we are when it comes to the content that we saw this past week from WWE. I would love to see something different on TV. But we got to see what they're going to do. But that's really it. That's all I have for this week. It's weird, man. I've been in the house now. This is day 3, I think, since I have not left for work and barely have left the house. I have to make it a point to go outside tomorrow, just to kind of walk around. Tomorrow's Friday. I need to get out. But yeah, everything's closed here. Nothing's open. Just stay safe, people. Be careful with your interactions with others right now. Keep washing your hands, keep washing your clothes, wash your face. Just stay hygienic right now because we don't want to see this get worse, and it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. But hopefully, the time frame of worse will not be as long as people tend to think it is. Be safe, be hygienic, be clean. As always, my name is Raphael Garcia. You can catch my content at rgarcia underscore sports on Twitter and Instagram, where I'm talking professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, most combat sports, politics, everything in between. You can check out MMA Ratings. All of our content is housed first and foremost at MMA Ratings Net, where you can go read our written work and also rate the fights. You can go to YouTube to see MMA Ratings, where we have this podcast and also our MMA podcast, which is hosted every Tuesday by myself and Shawan Hume. You can also check us out at MMA Ratings Net on Instagram and Twitter. And you can catch our podcast content on Spotify, Anchor, Google Play Podcasts, Apple iTunes, and I think that is it. So with that in mind, I always want to say thank you, especially in this time, for listening to what I had to say here about professional wrestling. Please be sure to like and subscribe to this show if you're watching it on YouTube, and share it across your social media channels as well. Thank you again. Be safe out there, everyone. Please have an enjoyable and safe weekend, and I will talk to you all next week.